Welcome back to the channel USA Coins 69, where we uncover the fascinating stories behind the coins we often overlook and reveal how something so small can sometimes turn into a life-changing treasure. Today's journey takes us into the world of the 5-cent coin, the Jefferson nickel, minted in the year 1975. Now, this coin is something most Americans have held in their hands at one point or another. It's a coin that jingles in pockets, sits quietly in change jars, and passes unnoticed in countless daily transactions. But hidden in this seemingly ordinary piece of metal lies history, artistry, and in some rare cases, value that can leave you completely stunned. So let's go back in time to the year 1975. The United States was in a very unique period of history. The Vietnam War had just ended, President Gerald Ford was leading the nation, and America was transitioning into a new chapter. The country was preparing for its bicentennial celebrations in 1976, and patriotic pride was running high. During this time, the U.S. Mint continued to strike Jefferson Nickels, a coin series that had already been in production since 1938. While millions of nickels rolled out of the mint in 1975, only a select few survive today in pristine condition, and even fewer stand out for their uniqueness, rarity, or minting anomalies. These are the coins that collectors dream of discovering. Now, let's take a moment to admire the design, because the Jefferson nickel is more than just a piece of currency, it is a work of art. On the obverse side, we see the left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. Designed by Felix Schlag, this portrait has graced the nickel since the coin's introduction in 1938. Along the edges, you'll notice the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," with the date, 1975, standing proudly. It's simple yet bold, and it carries with it the dignity of one of America's founding fathers. Flip the coin to the reverse side, and you're greeted by the striking image of Monticello, Jefferson's home in Virginia. This neoclassical mansion is not just a building, it is a symbol of Jefferson's intellect, vision, and his contributions to American culture. Above the building is the word E pluribus unum, a Latin phrase meaning, out of many, one, representing the unity of the states. Beneath Monticello, the word Monticello is inscribed, followed by 5 cents and United States of America. This design has stood the test of time, representing both Jefferson's legacy and the ideals of a young, ambitious nation. But what makes the 1975 Jefferson nickel so intriguing for collectors is not just the design or the history, it's the rarity, condition, and potential for hidden surprises. Most of these nickels were heavily circulated. They were used to buy a loaf of bread, a gallon of milk, or a newspaper in the 1970s, passed from one hand to another until their surfaces became worn and their details faded. Finding one today in well-preserved, uncirculated condition is like finding a time capsule. Collectors value nickels with sharp details, beautiful luster, and no scratches or blemishes. The higher the condition, the higher the potential value, and then, there's another layer of excitement: error coins. During the minting process, machines sometimes made mistakes. A misaligned die, a doubled strike, a planchet error, or off-center minting could produce nickels that look just a little different from the rest. These errors were not intentional, but they create one-of-a-kind coins that collectors go wild for. Imagine stumbling across a 1975 Jefferson nickel with doubling in the inscriptions or one struck slightly off-center. Suddenly, what looks like an ordinary coin transforms into a rare collectible worth hundreds, thousands, or even more. Let's not forget about the mint marks, either. In 1975, Jefferson nickels were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. You can spot the mint mark just to the right of Monticello on the reverse. Each mint has its own production quantities, and certain mint marks combined with exceptional condition can make a coin even more desirable. Collectors often search for these subtle differences that the average person might never notice. Think about this for a second. Right now, in your home, there might be a jar of old change. Maybe you've tossed nickels into it for years, never giving them much thought. But what if one of those nickels is a hidden treasure? What if, among all those coins, a shining 1975 Jefferson nickel is waiting to be discovered, an untouched survivor of time with all its original beauty intact? This is why coin collecting is so exciting. The thrill of the hunt, the possibility that something so ordinary could turn out to be extraordinary, it keeps collectors searching year after year, and now, after exploring the history, the design, the rarity, and the possibilities hidden within this coin, it's time to talk about the part you've been waiting for, the value. Some of you might be wondering, could this coin really be worth much? Could a nickel, just 5 cents in face value, actually change someone's life? Well, the answer is yes. Because in the world of rare coins, miracles happen. In the right condition, preserved in near-perfect state, and with qualities that make it stand out in the world of collectors, a 1975 Jefferson nickel has been valued at an unbelievable $53,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $53,000 for a 5-cent coin. A coin that most people wouldn't bend down to pick up off the street could actually be worth more than some luxury cars, more than a year's salary, and in some cases, enough to truly change someone's financial situation. So, the next time you're going through your spare change, take a close look at those nickels. Especially the ones from 1975. Check the details, examine the mint marks, and don't overlook what could be hiding right under your nose. You might just discover a treasure that others have ignored for decades. Today, we are going to talk about a coin that many people overlook every single day, a coin that has been part of pockets, purses, and change jars all across America, yet in certain cases can carry a value so shocking you will hardly believe it. That coin is the 5-cent Jefferson nickel from the year 1990. Now, at first glance, the 1990 Jefferson nickel might look just like any other nickel you've seen countless times before. It's small, silver-colored, and so common that most people wouldn't even think twice about it. But here's where things get interesting. While millions of these coins were minted and circulated across the United States, only a very few exist in the kind of condition, rarity, or uniqueness that makes them worth serious money today. And by the end of this video, you'll learn exactly why some Jefferson nickels from 1990 have become prized possessions for collectors and how one of them has reached a value so high, it could change the way you look at your spare change forever. Let's start by stepping back into 1990. The United States was in a period of transition. The Cold War was drawing to a close, technology was advancing, and the economy was shifting into a new era. And through all of this, the U.S. Mint continued producing one of the most familiar coins in American history, the Jefferson nickel. First introduced in 1938, this coin had already been in circulation for more than 5 decades by 1990. It had survived through wars, recessions, cultural shifts, and decades of change, and yet its design remained instantly recognizable. The obverse side of the coin, designed by Felix Schlag, features the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, one of the nation's most influential founding fathers and the 3rd President of the United States. Jefferson is shown facing left, with a thoughtful and dignified expression. Surrounding him are the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," on the left, the word "Liberty" on the right, and the date, 1990, proudly stamped near the rim. This side of the coin connects every American who holds it to a legacy of leadership, independence, and democracy. Turn the coin over, and you'll see Monticello, Jefferson's famous Virginia home. The neoclassical architecture is beautifully captured, with its dome and column standing as a symbol of Jefferson's brilliance and vision. Above Monticello is the phrase, "E pluribus unum," meaning, out of many, one, a motto that reflects the unity of the nation. Beneath Monticello, you'll find the inscriptions, Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America. This reverse design has been a hallmark of the Jefferson nickel for decades, admired for both its simplicity and its symbolism. But what really makes the 1990 Jefferson nickel worth talking about is not just the design or its widespread use, it's the story of rarity, condition, and the hunt for perfection. Most of the nickels from 1990 were heavily circulated. They were used for bus fares, vending machines, coffee purchases, and everyday transactions. Over time, they became scratched, dulled, and worn down. For collectors, condition is everything, and only the coins that survived without ever entering circulation, the ones tucked away right after minting, have the chance to command high value. These coins, often referred to as mint state or proof coins, retain their shine, their sharp details, and their original beauty. In addition to condition, collectors are drawn to coins with errors or unusual features. During minting, mistakes sometimes happen. A doubled die, an off-center strike, a clipped planchet, these small errors make the coin stand out as unique. Imagine holding a 1990 Jefferson nickel that was struck slightly off-center, leaving part of the design missing, or one where the inscriptions appear doubled. While the average person might dismiss it as just another nickel, a serious collector sees it as a rare piece of history worth adding to their collection. Error coins like these are always in high demand because no two are exactly alike. Another detail collectors look for is the mint mark. In 1990, Jefferson Nickels were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. You can find the mint mark to the right of Jefferson's portrait, just below the date. Each mint produced millions of nickels, but certain combinations of mint mark and condition are harder to find than others. For example, proof coins from San Francisco can be particularly valuable if they are flawless, while nickels from Philadelphia or Denver in exceptional condition also command high prices. Now let's pause for a moment and think about what this means. Every day, people handle coins without ever stopping to look closely. How many of us have tossed nickels into jars, left them at the bottom of purses, or ignored them at the bottom of a drawer? Yet among these common little coins could be something extraordinary. Imagine finding a 1990 Jefferson nickel in pristine, untouched condition, a coin that looks exactly as it did the day it left the mint more than 3 decades ago. For collectors, that kind of discovery is like unearthing buried treasure, and this is where the story of the 1990 Jefferson nickel becomes truly exciting. Because while most of these coins are worth just their face value, a handful of them, those rare survivors in extraordinary condition or with unusual minting characteristics, have reached values that no one could have imagined back when they were first struck. So now, the question you've been waiting for, just how much could one of these nickels be worth today? Get ready, because the answer is truly astonishing. In the right condition, preserved in near-perfect mint state and coveted by collectors around the world, one 1990 Jefferson nickel has been valued at an incredible $44,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $44,000 for a 5-cent coin. A coin that most people would drop in a parking lot without even bothering to pick it up could actually be worth more than the cost of a brand new luxury car. That is the magic of coin collecting, the thrill of discovery, and the reason why every single coin deserves a second look. So the next time you find yourself sorting through change, don't underestimate those nickels. Especially the ones from 1990. Check the details, look at the condition, search for mint marks, and don't forget to look for those rare errors that can make a world of difference. Because hidden among those ordinary coins, you might just find a treasure worth thousands. Today, we're diving deep into a coin that most people overlook every day, a coin that jingles in pockets, sits quietly in jars, and passes unnoticed in everyday transactions, but under the right circumstances, can hold astonishing value. That coin is the 5-cent Jefferson nickel from the year 1985. At first glance, a 1985 Jefferson nickel might seem completely ordinary. It's small, silver-colored, and familiar to anyone who's ever handled coins. Yet, despite its common appearance, it carries a legacy of American history, artistry, and in some cases, a value that can leave collectors and enthusiasts completely stunned. If you stay with me until the end, you'll discover exactly why this coin is so special, and how one could be worth a sum that could change a person's life. Let's take a journey back to the United States in 1985. The country was experiencing a time of change and innovation. Ronald Reagan was president, technology was advancing rapidly, and the economy was growing steadily. Amid this backdrop, the U.S. Mint continued producing Jefferson Nickels, a coin series that had been in circulation for decades. First introduced in 1938 to honor Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and the author of the Declaration of Independence, the Jefferson nickel has always been more than just currency, it is a symbol of American heritage and history. On the obverse side of the 1985 nickel, we see the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson, designed by Felix Schlag. Jefferson faces left, with a dignified, contemplative expression, representing the wisdom, independence, and leadership he brought to the country. Surrounding him are the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," with the date, 1985, clearly displayed. This side of the coin connects us to Jefferson's legacy, reminding every American who holds it of the ideals upon which the nation was built. Flip the coin over, and the reverse side features Monticello, Jefferson's historic Virginia estate. This neoclassical mansion is more than just a home, it represents Jefferson's intellect, architectural vision, and enduring influence. Above Monticello is the inscription E pluribus unum, Latin for, out of many, one, highlighting the unity and strength of the nation. Below Monticello, you'll find the words, Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America. The reverse design is admired for its elegance and symbolism, representing both Jefferson's personal legacy and the values of the country. Now here's where things get exciting for collectors. While millions of 1985 Jefferson Nickels were minted and widely circulated, the vast majority were used in everyday transactions and eventually showed signs of wear. For collectors, condition is everything. A coin that has been handled countless times and has scratches, worn details, or dulled surfaces is worth little more than its face value. But coins preserved in uncirculated, mint condition, retaining their original luster, sharp details, and flawless surfaces, can be extremely valuable. These pristine examples are highly sought after and are considered treasures among collectors. Beyond condition, some 1985 nickels are even more valuable due to errors or unusual minting characteristics. During production, coins sometimes experienced mistakes such as double dies, off-center strikes, or clipped planchets. While these errors were accidental, they create coins that are completely unique. Imagine finding a 1985 Jefferson nickel where the date or lettering appears doubled, or the design is slightly off-center. For a collector, this transforms an ordinary nickel into a rare and priceless piece of history. Error coins are always in high demand because no two are ever exactly alike, and their rarity drives value exponentially. Another important detail collectors look for is the mint mark. In 1985, Jefferson nickels were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The mint mark can be found to the right of Jefferson's portrait, just below the date. Each mint produced different quantities, and certain combinations of mint mark and condition can make a coin significantly more desirable. For instance, proof coins from San Francisco in flawless condition are incredibly rare, while high-grade nickels from Philadelphia and Denver can also fetch impressive prices. It's fascinating to think about this for a moment. Most people never pay attention to their nickels. They drop them in parking lots, toss them into jars, or leave them forgotten at the bottom of a drawer. Yet among these ordinary coins could be a hidden treasure, a nickel that survived decades in perfect condition, retaining every detail as if it just left the mint. For coin collectors, discovering such a nickel is like finding a needle in a haystack. The thrill of knowing that a coin you might have overlooked could be worth tens of thousands of dollars is what makes numismatics so exciting. And now comes the moment you've all been waiting for, the value reveal. After exploring the history, design, condition, rarity, and potential for errors, it's time to answer the ultimate question: just how much could a 1985 Jefferson nickel be worth today? The answer is truly astonishing. In the right condition, carefully preserved, and potentially featuring unique characteristics, one of these nickels has been valued at an incredible $63,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $63,000 for a single 5-cent coin. A coin that most people might casually drop in a vending machine could actually be worth more than a luxury car, more than a year's salary for many, and enough to make any collector's heart race with excitement. That is the magic of coin collecting, the thrill of discovery, the fascination of history, and the life-changing potential hidden in something so small. So the next time you're sorting through change, don't overlook those nickels, especially ones from 1985. Check their condition, examine the mint marks, and keep an eye out for errors or unusual features. You could be holding a treasure that someone else would pay thousands for, and the excitement of uncovering such a coin is unlike anything else. Today, we are diving into a coin that at first glance might seem ordinary, yet it holds a fascinating story, incredible historical significance, and, in rare cases, a value that can make jaws drop. We're talking about the United States of America 5 cents Jefferson nickel from the year 1943. Now, most people have handled nickels like this in their lifetime without giving them a second thought, but the 1943 Jefferson nickel is a coin that hides secrets, rarity, and potential fortune, waiting for the careful collector to discover it. Let's travel back to 1943. The United States was in the middle of World War II, a time of immense change and historical significance. The country was mobilizing on a massive scale, and every element of American life, including coinage, was influenced by the war effort. During this period, the U.S. Mint faced a serious challenge. Nickel, the metal traditionally used for these coins, was needed for military production. As a result, the Jefferson Nickels minted from 1942 to 1945 were made primarily of a unique composition: 56% copper, 35% silver, and 9% manganese. This war nickel composition not only makes these coins historically fascinating, but it also contributes to their rarity and appeal today. On the obverse side of the coin, we see the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, designed by Felix Schlag. Jefferson's profile is calm yet determined, reflecting the leadership and vision he brought to the nation. Surrounding the portrait are the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," with the date, 1943, proudly displayed. This obverse side connects collectors to Jefferson's legacy and reminds us of a time when America faced enormous challenges on both the home front and abroad. Flip the coin over, and the reverse side features Monticello, Jefferson's historic Virginia estate. Monticello's neoclassical architecture is beautifully rendered, symbolizing Jefferson's intellect, his architectural brilliance, and his enduring influence on the nation. Above Monticello is the Latin phrase, "E pluribus unum," meaning, out of many, one, reflecting the unity of the United States during a time of global conflict. Below the building, the inscriptions, "Monticello, 5 cents," and "United States of America," proudly display the coin's denomination and origin. Every detail, from the columns of Monticello to the lettering around the rim, is a reminder of craftsmanship and history intertwined. But here's where things get truly exciting for collectors. While millions of 1943 Jefferson nickels were minted, most of them entered everyday circulation. They were used to buy groceries, pay for bus rides, and handled countless times by soldiers, families, and workers during the war. Over the decades, these coins inevitably show wear, scratches, and tarnish. For collectors, condition is everything. A coin that has survived for more than 80 years in near-perfect, uncirculated condition is extremely rare and highly sought after. These pristine examples are like frozen pieces of history, maintaining their original luster and sharpness as if they just left the mint. Beyond condition, rarity is further amplified by minting errors. During production, mistakes sometimes occurred: double dies, off-center strikes, missing letters, or other anomalies. These errors are incredibly valuable because they are one of a kind, making each error coin unique. Imagine holding a 1943 Jefferson nickel with doubling on the date or lettering, or one that was struck slightly off-center so the design looks unusual. While the average person might dismiss it as a flawed coin, collectors know that these errors can dramatically increase its value and desirability. Another factor collectors carefully examine is the mint mark. In 1943, Jefferson nickels were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The mint mark, indicating where the coin was produced, can be found on the reverse side, near Monticello. Certain mint marks combined with specific conditions or error features make some coins significantly rarer than others. Coins with a San Francisco S mint mark in perfect condition, for example, are highly prized and often command attention at auctions and private sales. Think about this for a moment. Millions of people handled these nickels during the 1940s. They jangled in pockets, sat in cash registers, and traveled across the country during a time of war. Yet, hidden among them were coins that never saw circulation, coins preserved by careful hands or tucked away in collections. These are the coins that collectors dream of finding. They are the silent survivors of history, waiting to be recognized for their beauty, rarity, and value. Now, imagine if one of these 1943 Jefferson nickels also had a rare minting error, a double die or misalignment that makes it one of a kind. Such coins are the crown jewels of any collection, sought after by numismatists around the world. The thrill of discovering a coin like this is unmatched, combining history, artistry, and fortune into a single, small piece of metal, and now comes the moment you've been waiting for. After exploring the rich history, the remarkable design, the rarity, the potential for minting errors, and the collector appeal, it's time to reveal just how much a 1943 Jefferson nickel can be worth today. Prepare yourself, because the answer is truly astonishing. In the right condition, preserved in near-perfect state, and especially with rare characteristics or minting anomalies, one of these nickels has been valued at an incredible $106,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $106,000 for a single 5-cent coin. A coin that most people would pass over without a second thought could actually be worth more than a luxury car, more than some people's annual salary, and enough to completely change the life of the person who discovers it. This is the power of coin collecting, the excitement of uncovering hidden treasure, the connection to history, and the incredible value that can sometimes be hidden in something so small. So, the next time you're sifting through old coins, examining change jars, or exploring a family collection, don't overlook the nickels, especially ones from 1943. Check for mint marks, condition, and potential errors. What seems like an ordinary coin could be a treasure waiting to be discovered, and the excitement of holding such a coin is a feeling that every collector cherishes. Today, we are diving into the world of a coin that millions of Americans have held, spent, and passed around without giving it a second thought. It's small, silver-colored, and incredibly familiar, but hidden within some of these coins lies a fascinating story, a piece of history, and in rare cases, a value so shocking it could completely change someone's life. Today we are talking about the United States of America 5-cent Jefferson nickel from the year 1964. Now, at first glance, a 1964 Jefferson nickel might seem ordinary, just like any other nickel in your pocket. Yet, these coins carry deep historical significance. 1964 was a pivotal year in American history. It was the year the Civil Rights Act was passed, forever changing the social and legal fabric of the nation. It was also a time when the United States was navigating the Cold War and experiencing rapid economic growth. Amid all this, the U.S. Mint continued to produce Jefferson nickels, a coin series that had been in circulation since 1938, honoring Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and principal author of the Declaration of Independence. These coins are more than currency, they are small pieces of history that have survived through decades. Let's begin by examining the design of the coin. On the obverse side, we see the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson, facing left, designed by Felix Schlag. Jefferson's calm yet thoughtful expression reflects the wisdom and leadership that he brought to the nation. Around his profile, you'll find the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," on the left, "Liberty," on the right, and the date, 1964, clearly displayed near the rim. This side of the coin is a reminder of Jefferson's enduring legacy, connecting every person who holds it to the principles of democracy, freedom, and innovation that helped shape the United States. Turn the coin over, and you'll see Monticello, Jefferson's famous Virginia home. The neoclassical architecture is captured beautifully, symbolizing Jefferson's intellect, vision, and architectural brilliance. Above Monticello, the phrase, "E pluribus unum," is inscribed, meaning, out of many, one, reflecting the unity of the states. Below the building, the words, Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America, are clearly marked. Every detail, from the columns of Monticello to the lettering on the coin, is a testament to both artistry and history. This design, though familiar, is appreciated by collectors for its elegance and timelessness. Now here's where the story gets exciting. While millions of 1964 Jefferson nickels were minted, most entered everyday circulation. They were used to buy groceries, pay for bus rides, and exchanged countless times over the decades. As a result, most of these coins today show signs of wear, scratches, tarnish, and dulling of their once shiny surfaces. For collectors, the condition of a coin is everything. Coins preserved in pristine, uncirculated condition are extremely rare and highly sought after. These mint state coins retain their original luster, sharpness, and fine details, making them true treasures for numismatists. Collectors are also drawn to minting errors. During production, small mistakes sometimes occurred: doubled dies, off-center strikes, and planchet errors. These errors, while unintentional, transform ordinary coins into one-of-a-kind pieces. Imagine holding a 1964 Jefferson nickel with a subtle doubling in the date, or one struck slightly off-center so that the design appears unusual. While the average person might not notice, collectors recognize the rarity and value immediately. Coins with such unique features often fetch far more than standard examples, making them highly coveted in the collecting world. Mint marks are another important factor to consider. In 1964, Jefferson nickels were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The mint mark can be found to the right of Jefferson's portrait on the obverse side. Certain mint marks combined with flawless condition or rare errors can make a coin even more valuable. For example, a high-grade coin from the San Francisco Mint with no circulation marks or defects can be incredibly rare and desirable to collectors worldwide. Now, pause for a moment and think about this. Millions of these nickels were produced and handled over decades, jangled in pockets, passed through cash registers, and stored in coin jars. Yet among them, a few survived in perfect, mint condition. These coins have endured through decades without losing their shine or sharp details. For collectors, discovering one of these untouched coins is like finding a hidden treasure, an authentic, tangible piece of history preserved perfectly in time. And then there's the thrill of imagining errors or unusual characteristics. Maybe there's a coin with a tiny doubling of letters, a misaligned strike, or a subtle anomaly that makes it one of a kind. The combination of historical significance, pristine condition, and rarity drives collector demand through the roof. These are the coins that can appear in auctions or private sales and instantly become the center of attention. Finally, after exploring the history, the design, the minting details, the potential errors, and the rarity, it's time to reveal the ultimate question: what is a 1964 Jefferson nickel worth today? And this is where things get truly astonishing. In the right condition, perfectly preserved, and particularly if it has rare features or minting errors, one of these nickels has been valued at an incredible $66,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $66,000 for a 5-cent coin. A coin that most people would toss into a vending machine or ignore in a jar could actually be worth more than many luxury cars, more than an entire year's salary for some, and enough to completely transform the life of the person who discovers it. This is the thrill of coin collecting, the combination of history, rarity, and the hidden potential for life-changing value. So, the next time you are sorting through old coins, examining change jars, or exploring family collections, pay close attention to the nickels, especially those from 1964. Look for mint marks, check the condition, and be aware of potential minting errors. What may seem ordinary at first glance could be an extraordinary treasure waiting to be discovered. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the story of the 1964 Jefferson nickel. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of America's most fascinating coins and want to discover more hidden treasures, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on future videos exploring rare and valuable coins. Until next time, keep searching, keep collecting, and remember, sometimes the smallest coins carry the biggest surprises.